Welcome, and thanks for coming to this webinar, the first in a series teaching specific tools existing in your website arsenal to help you connect with more prospects to increase your real estate business. My name is Chip Morris. I'm a trainer for Reliance Network, but I'm also a licensed agent with over 20 years experience. Email campaigns, also known as drip marketing and email marketing. Your website has many ways for you to reach out to your prospects, sphere, and clients. You can use the tools for emailing letters, e-postcards, stock campaigns, and custom campaigns, as well as other automated reports that are already set up in your website program. Now, as we go through the session, think how you can use drip marketing in your business today. Now I'm going to hover over marketing and then I'm going to click on campaigns, which is how you get started. Notice we have stock campaigns and then there's custom campaigns, office campaigns, and at the bottom is the custom campaigns. Now the custom campaign tool allows you to create automated keep-in-touch materials that reach your target market. The stock campaigns are great, they have their place, but custom campaigns focus on your personal message and differentiate you from others. In both stock and custom campaigns, we offer 3 different types: sign up, fixed date, and add to group. Now the sign up type of campaign, these are triggered when someone registers at your website. Maybe that visitor saved a search, saved a favorite property, or just clicked the register button and submitted contact information. There is a stock campaign with 3 emails over a 3-week period, but think how much more powerful it could be if you created your own series of keep-in-touch letters that will tell your story and how you work. The cool part of a sign-up campaign is once you create it, just turn it on and it does everything else for you, including adding those who will receive the targeted letters you developed. Now the fixed date campaigns, these go out on a fixed schedule you set. Our stock monthly newsletter is a perfect example. Now customizing fixed date campaigns can involve more work on your part if you're going to create new material for distribution on a regular basis. When you set the campaign up, you can send out emails one day after another, 1 week after another, 1 month after another, or mix it up however you want. You set the exact dates you want. Now, I've tried projecting over 1.5 years into the future, and it still works. Also, as with the other custom campaigns, you can add additional letters and dates after you have activated the campaign. Today, we're going to concentrate on the add to group campaign type. That's the one that's used most often. Basically, you create letters you want to send, establish how often you want a letter to be sent, turn on the campaign, and only have to add prospects to the group receiving the campaign to have each go through the campaign individually. And we're going to start with a scenario and walk through doing one. Let's say you want to create a campaign targeting for sale by owners. For several years, that was my primary target market. Every time I drove down the street and saw a for sale by owner sign, I'd immediately stop the car, walk up and knock on the door. I carried a packet of information that would be beneficial to the for sale by owner, including samples of reports I was inviting them to receive that would keep them informed about the real estate market in their area, those automated listing email updates that are already part of your program. And also another report that would show them real estate trends for their specific home area and zip code. That's also one of the built-in tools in your website. I let them know my domain name, which they could visit for additional help, and all of it was with no obligation. Now, when I got their email address, either at the door or later when they went to the website, I would then initiate a series of for sale by owner campaigns. I had one for introductory, marketing, negotiations, repairs, escrow process, transfer of home to buyers, and moving. Today we're going to only look at part of one, the introductory campaign. So let's say my for sale by owner is a guy by the name of John Ranger, and I've met him and I've gotten his information. I need to add him into my contact list. So I would come up to the clients, and that's hovering over clients, and then click contact list. I'm ready now to add him as an individual contact. By the way, remember, you can import contacts in mass using the import contacts tool. We won't cover that in the webinar, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. So I click add contact, and basically it opens a blank profile for me. So I'm going to enter John. Any other information I can get about him, I can add, and including a second contact for that same account. Once I've done that, I'm ready to add the contact information. Now, I'm ready to add John to a distribution group, an email distribution group that is specific to the campaign he's going to be getting. So we come down, and we can see here's email distribution groups. But right now, one does not exist for the for sale by owner intro. I'm just setting up this campaign as the first time. So I'm going to leave his contact information, and I will go over to clients and groups in order to create an email distribution group. Now, the top of this is a thing called client classification. Think of that as an electronic Rolodex, and there's 26 different areas that you can put people into. But this is not an email distribution group. This is just like a business card file for you to be able to group contacts into these areas. Below that, you'll see email distribution groups. And typically there are 3 system groups, one of which contains all contacts, one which is new web clients, and then web clients without market reports, without the market watch, and then any member ones you've done. Now, to create a new email distribution group, and by the way, the reason we need to do the email distribution group is that campaigns are sent to contacts who are inside a particular group. You don't add individuals directly into a campaign, you add them into the group that is to receive the campaign. So I'm going to call this one FSBO Intro. That's just for my use to be able to see it. If I needed a description, I could do it, and then I create the group. Once the group is created, I can go down and see it has now been added into my email distributions groups list, but it doesn't have anybody in it. And by the way, over here where it says edit group view members, this is not where you add members. You can delete people who you already have in it if you want to for any reason. But I just wanted you to be aware, if you look at this, it would just list the ones who are there presently. So we need to add John into the email distribution group. We can do that in a couple of ways. If we go back to the contact list, we could go and find John's name here and select it, and then at the bottom we could assign to group, and when we did that, that for sale by owner intro group would come up as it. Or we can go into John's profile, choose it right from here and search him out. And here we are. And now when we scroll back down through his profile and into the lead information area and the email distribution groups, I'm ready to add John to for sale by owner intro. You can have, by the way, people in as many email distribution groups as you want. And if by chance you're sending a campaign to more than one distribution group, the system will filter it to make sure each individual only gets one of those reports. They look for the email addresses and make sure each letter that would go out during a campaign only went out once to each email address. But we're happy with what we have, so we save the changes. Okay, next, we need to create the letters that we're going to use as part of that campaign. So we come up to email and we go to the letter library. When we enter the letter library, you'll notice it's divided. You have my personal letter library, and then you have a stock company letter library. You have stock letters already in your library that you can use, and those make up, by the way, the letters that are part of the stock campaign. But in this case, we're going to start creating letters for our for sale by owner intro campaign. First thing I want to do is create a letter folder, a section. Think of the letter library like your library. It's separated into areas. Here we have a section that I had set one up for an open house section. It only has one letter in it. Well, I'm going to create a letter folder, and I'm just going to call this one FSBO because I can actually have more than one campaign set of letters in this folder. As long as it applies to the for sale by owners, I'm going to be happy with it. I just have to remember to make sure my titles of my letters that are the reference titles have enough information that I know which campaign they go with. So here we are, we've got it, there's no letters. Let's now start creating the letters for the campaign. And by the way, the for sale by owner intro campaign that I ran had 7 letters that worked over about a 3-week period. But this one we're only going to do 3 for the demonstration purpose. First, I have to select a category that the letter will be placed into. And there's FSBO, so that's it. Now the title is for my reference only in the library. It's not what the recipient will see. So if I start putting in why, would a agent give, and I could do it that way, or I just need to put something in that will identify it to me. So I'm going to make it FSBO intro 1, and I'm going to put the word free. Okay? And again, that's for me only. The subject of this is why would a real estate agent give anything away for free? That is what the recipient will see. So I enter that. I'm now ready to come down into the body and enter the letter. Notice there is a text editor here that you can use. You can add links, you can add images, you can even get into HTML if you want to do that. Now hopefully I have already copied, yes, I've already been able to copy the letter so we don't have to wait for me to be typing this all out. So this is my first letter. Let me pause for a moment and show you a new warm cookie right out of the oven. We now have tokens built into your system. So if you would like to personalize your letters that you're sending to people, you can use the tokens. As an example here, notice I have hi and then a space and then this token put in, and this token is telling the system, go into the names that are in the distribution group that this is being sent to, and grab the first name of each contact, because the letters that come out in the campaigns are sent individually. They are not sent to the group. They're sent out as individual people within the group. So it looks a lot more personal to the person receiving the letter, and it also helps get by the spam filters that look for bulk emails coming out. If you have 100 people in an email distribution group, it's sending out 100 separate emails at the time. So here we have this one. This is the token, very simple. And what this means is when John receives the letter, it'll say, hi, John. And then frankly, only about that type thing. And then you could clean up the letter any way you want, make changes or things like this. Once you're happy with the letter, you click Add Letter. And the system will add it into the personal letter library under the FSBO campaign. Let's create our next letter. And for it, this one is going to be called Sell It Yourself. Can you do it? Now I'm copying off screen right now so we can again save a little bit of time, hopefully. Category, for sale by owner. Title will be FSBO, and this will be intro number 2, Sell It Yourself. The client doesn't see that. The client sees the subject line, which is Sell It Yourself, can you do it? And then we're ready to add the letter into the body area of the new letter area. We put that in, and by the way, you can add these tokens in the middle, this type thing. If I wanted to have the first name and last name, all I would do is leave a space between the brackets, and then the second one would be contact dot last name, and it has to be entered exactly as it is here. You need to capitalize where it's capitalized, have no spaces where there are no spaces in order for that to work. Now, this has just been released to your organizations. You may have gotten notice from your organizations, or if you go into the resources area of your intranet, look for probably under a section called training or training and education, look for quick start guides, and you will find that there are the list of tokens that you can use in there. One is linked to the marketing quick start guide, and one is linked to the email quick start guide. So we have this, we're ready with it, we're happy with it. We come on down and add the letter. And you just keep adding letters until you have done all of them. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to go, not even going to add the third letter, but I could do that and add as many letters as I want. Then once I'm done doing this, I can come down and I'm ready to build my campaign. So to build the campaign, I return to campaigns. This wizard is so simple to use. We come down, I click Create Custom Campaign. It wants me to name it. Again, it's for my use only. So I'm just going to call it FSBO Intro Campaign. Which type of campaign is this? Well, we want it to be add to group, because while we have one person we're going to start with, when I meet my next for sale by owner, all I want to do is have to add him into the email distribution group, and he will start at the beginning of the campaign and work through it at his own pace. So I will click add to group and then click continue. It has me verify this is what I want. I click continue, and now it's ready for me to start building the campaign, adding the letters. Well, it's pretty simple for me to tell this way. My first letter is the one that's free, FSBO Intro 1, and then I scroll down, and how many letters after the event date, after the day the person is added into the email distribution group, or you've turned on the campaign, do you want the first letter to go? Well, let's say I met John this morning. I'm going to give him a day off, and then I'm going to send it on the second day. Now, today is always day 0, and you can't start a campaign on day 0. Tomorrow is the earliest you can. In this case, I'm going to do it on the day after tomorrow that he'll get that first letter. And I'm going to click continue. I'm ready to add my next letter. Comes in, I choose it, scroll down to the bottom, enter the number of days. I'm going to give him another day off, and I'm going to send it out on the 4th day. I continue. See, once you've set up the letters, how simple this is. Once I've added all the letters I want, I click finish. And it goes into finalizing the campaign for me. And then as soon as it's done doing that, I'll be able to then turn the campaign on. We'll give it just a moment here. It's taken us back, and here is my custom campaign now. So all I have to do is decide who's going to receive the campaign and use the modify button to turn it on. Click recipients. Here are my custom groups. So I'm going to go for sale by owner intro, update the recipients. I'm going to click modify. And by the way, notice with this, not only can I turn the campaign on or off, I also can modify the letters. I can reschedule when I want letters to go out. I can remove letters, and I can add letters. And this works for all your custom campaigns you may be setting up, regardless of the campaign type. And then in this case, I'm going to turn it on, click update. And we know that the day after tomorrow, John is going to receive his first campaign letter from me. Now that's basically all there is to it, except when I meet that next FSBO and the next, I just keep adding them to my contact list, making them part of the FSBO email distribution group. Those persons then automatically proceed through my custom campaign. The goal is to keep a steady pipeline of for sale by owner prospects working through that custom campaign. After the initial setup of each campaign, it only takes a few minutes on my part to launch the next prospect. And let's talk about activities to build the skill. First, you want to add yourself as a client to your website, and then add letters to your personal letter library. You should test everything that you're sending out to prospects and clients so that you see how the system interacts with them. And then create a simple custom campaign. Remember, your communication style is unique, and your custom message is a differentiator for you. Consistency is the key to good drip marketing programs. You want to stay in touch. Running a campaign, for sale by owner, is a perfect example. People will touch base with them 2 or 3 times to stop. I would keep going until they either used me as their agent, or they got their home sold, or they signed up with another agent for some reason. But consistency is the key to drip marketing programs.